The JoJo's Bizarre Adventure manga has been running since the 1980s, and it's no surprise that the art style has seen a lot of changes over time. Araki has never been afraid of changing the look of JoJo. Every part looks distinguishable, and in most of the parts you can actually see a huge difference from the early chapters to the later ones. Since the start of JoJo, Araki has taken inspirations from other mangas such as Fist of the North Star. You can really see this in the first 3 parts. It's not until Diamond is Unbreakable that Araki switches over to the quote-unquote modern look. By modern look, I mean a shift from bodies that look like literal deep freezers to slender, more model-like bodies and faces. So let's take a look at the evolution of art style in the JoJo manga. And I'm totally not doing this video just to show off my favorite manga panels. No, totally not. Part 1. Phantom Blood. Phantom Blood wasn't Araki's first manga, but it's where JoJo started, so it's pretty iconic. I can only describe this part with 2 words. Proportions and muscles. The overall art style is obviously super inspired by Fist of the North Star. Now, don't get me wrong, I love part 1, but I'm very glad that Araki decided to move on from this art style. It's definitely something that looked good in the 80s when it was made, and a lot of the panels look really cool even today, but I think in today's standards, this would probably not carry itself that well. I also think that the anime fixed a lot of the problems with the art style from the manga. Moving over to part 2, Battle Tendency. The art style of this part also borrows heavily from Fist of the North Star, but this is where Araki really starts putting his own spin on things. Ha, get it? Spin? No? Oh. We got Joseph, Caesar, Lisa, and the Pillarmen all looking like Giga Chads. The time period that this is set in is in the 1930s, so Araki didn't need to make everyone look like a British schoolboy. And you can see that he really experimented with different outfits here compared to part 1. And even though we still got this muscular thing going on, I think it really fits part 2 because Joseph deserves to look like a Chad. Overall, I really like the look of part 2, and it's overall just better than part 1. Part 3. Stardust Crusaders. It's the 1980s, and in this part we have the introduction of Jotaro Kujo, the chaddest and most intimidating 17-year-old boy to ever exist. And the reason why he is seen as such a Chad and always points his finger is because he's based on Clint Eastwood and his revolver pose. I read this in the Jojolian manga, you should go buy it, it's pretty cool. In this part, Araki goes more crazy with the outfits. We got Jotaro with his modded school uniform, Dio with his Chad construction worker outfit, and so many other bizarre clothing styles. We also got the introduction of stands, and Araki does a great job illustrating them in the manga. The manga for part 3 doesn't look bad at all in my opinion. You can tell that it's from the late 80s, and that's kind of the charm with part 3. We also have some of the most iconic manga panels from JoJo in part 3. So it's definitely cool reading through it and seeing those. Overall, I love the art style of part 3, even though it's an unpopular opinion. Time for part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable. It's now the 1990s, and Araki decides to change his art style. In the beginning of part 4, Josuke looks like he's straight out of part 3, but gradually over the course of part 4, he gets slimmer, and in the final panel, he looks like this. I swear it's like 2 different mangas. The clothing that Josuke wears is also based on the artist Prince. Prince would later go on to inspire other outfits for JoJo's such as Giorno and Bruno Bucciarati. We also get to see so many other cool outfits in this part. I mean, have you looked at Rohan? The guy can pull off wearing a green party hat from RuneScape halfway down his head. How? And we also get a change of scenery, so it's really refreshing reading this part. If you've seen the anime, it's definitely worth reading. Part 5, Golden Wind. Golden Wind is the absolute turning point for the JoJo style. Araki becomes addicted to fashion magazines and it fucking shows. This is good because it really makes JoJo stand out from other mangas. It creates this own sense of style that nothing else really captures. This part is also based in Italy, so you already know it's gonna look cool as hell. The overall scenery, the outfits, the stands, the poses, and the panels that Araki makes is so good that even people with zero fashion sense like myself decided to start dressing better. But like always, the part looks good all the way through, but you can definitely see the evolution of art style constantly change. And I have to say that this is one of the best looking JoJo parts in my opinion, and the Mafia/Renaissance theme is 10 out of 10. Part 6, Stone Ocean. Now this part doesn't have the most exciting backdrop because a huge chunk of the story is based inside of a prison, but it definitely makes up for it when it comes to the way characters look and their stance. Araki makes every fight scene feel authentic too. It definitely has its goofy looking moments, but I don't mind because it's JoJo, it's okay. As always, the art style evolves throughout the part, and in the finale, there's some really cool looking panels. You can definitely see how his art style spills over into the next part that I'm going to talk about, Steel Ball Run. Why yes, it is my favorite part. How could you tell? It's probably your favorite part too, if we're going to look at statistics. But goddamn, this is a masterpiece both art style wise and story wise. Pretty much just like every other part. If we look back to part 1, Araki limited himself to authentic looking outfits. Well, kind of. But in the Steel Ball Run universe, oh my god. He throws all limitations out of the window and does exactly what he wants, and I love it. During the later chapters, you can really see the amount of work Araki puts into this manga, and stands like D4C, Tusk, and actually most other stands are some of the best looking ones in JoJo. A lot of the volume cover poses seem to be from fashion magazines as well. In my opinion, I think this is the best looking JoJo part. Even normal panels look cool as hell, and it just gets better and better the more you read. So this is peak JoJo. Alright, let's move on over to the last one. Jojolian. In this part, Araki decided to make the faces very similar. They all look like they're based on models, but because of his amazing and unique outfits, you can easily tell who is who. I really like how Araki went for a naval kind of vibe for Josuke, and the second coolest looking character here probably has to be Jobin in my opinion. Please don't kill me, guys. Even though we're back in Morio, he puts a completely different spin on it than in Diamond is Unbreakable. I have to say that I like the Jojolian art style more than I like the story. As Shuckmeister said, Araki has lately been a better painter than a mangaka during Part 8's run, and I completely agree with him. Araki had a bunch of art exhibitions during Part 8's run, and even ended up in the Louvre. So Part 8 is not bad, but it's not my favorite, but it does look good, can't deny that. So that is all the parts. I wonder if Araki is going to switch his art style for JoJolands, but if we look at the pattern from the other ones, he keeps the same art style for the first chapters, but time will show. Please remember that this is just my own personal opinions, and if you feel like you don't agree with them, that's fine. You can post your own rankings in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, enjoy the volume cover of the week.